You don't got electricity, but you need your Starlink to be powered up. How do you do it when you're out in the middle of nowhere? Let's check it out. We are here at the off-grid cabin once more and trying to catch up on some, I guess, some tasks that I kind of put off because we've been camping on the road and because it's the perfect temperature to camp. Now, many of you knew or know that we had a big storm that hit Tennessee. And I was, if you look at a couple videos back, we were stranded for about 9 days. Everything was shut down. We had ice and snow. The ice was the scary part, not for me, but for people out there on the road that was, sliding into ditches. Gas stations were closed. Gas trucks couldn't make it. But we are back. We just got back from a camp trip where we had 71-degree weather, which was perfect. So both Hoku and I thawed out. But during that storm, of course, I didn't lose power because I have a pretty good power system here at the cabin. But I powered my Starlink Mini throughout the storm. I mean, I left it out there, in negative single digits temperatures, and it performed flawlessly. And a couple of times I have been using, or I did use, some batteries, external batteries for the Starlink Mini. Now, there are many accessories out there now where you can charge up your Starlink, run your battery, and I did one on a battery which was 145 watt hours from a company called Devos, and I got about 7 to 9 hours worth of power. But today we are going to talk about another power battery that was sent to me by a company called Peakdo. Now, last summer when I went across the United States and did camping in remote areas, this is what I brought with me. This is the Peakdo external battery. Now, this is the Peakdo 1, and this was their first generation that they came out with. And you get about 4 hours of power with this battery. During the ice storm, I've tried 2 different batteries as well as this one, and with the snow melt feature. Now, whenever you use the snow melt feature on your Starlink Mini, you are going to draw quite a bit of power. This right here went from a 4-hour battery to a 2.5-hour battery in the storm. Also, with the Peakdo 1, what I was experiencing across the United States, because I was there in the summer, that these batteries were overheating, getting pretty warm while attached to the Starlink. So that worried me quite a bit because, I don't want a battery, frying my Starlink or overheating or even melting. So, I would periodically check this battery and making sure it was okay. Well, a couple weeks ago, Peakdo came out with another battery. They came out with the Peakdo 2, and they did do some modifications to these batteries to prevent overheating. And now if you compare it to the last Peakdo, they're about the same. In fact, they are the same dimensions. But the Peakdo 2 has a lot more options than the Peakdo 1. So let's go check it out. Now, with the Peakdo 1, I was noticing when I was, doing my travels in the remote areas, I was noticing that my Starlink was shutting down from time to time, and I couldn't figure out why. And the reason why is because this was overheating. Now, if you leave it on your hood or leave it on your dash, it will get hot, and it basically disables or shuts down when it gets hot, and that's why my Starlink was shutting down. And when I upload some videos while I was out there, it would take quite a while because I would have to wait till this cools down, and I would have to wait till it starts, to start back up. I would have to manually start this back up. So that was the biggest issue with the Peakdo 1. Well, Peakdo, I guess, took that in consideration, and when they came out with the Peakdo 2, this is what it looks like. Now, there are The biggest thing is these heat sinks on the front. These heat sinks dissipate heat. So you can see the difference right off the bat. The Peakdo D2 does have thermal heat sinks to keep this thing cool. The second feature that you have, if you look at the front of the units, now I'll put this together. You will see the screen's about the same, the power button's in the same location, but here on the other side you have different connections, and we're going to cover that right now. Now the Peakdo 1, was a Type-C connection where you could charge your Peakdo battery. Now the Peakdo D2 has not only a USB-C, but it also has on the opposite side here, let me open that up, a 12-volt input as well. So you can charge USB-C or 12-volt. Now that's a good option because now you can plug this in to your vehicle 12-volt system while you're driving. Another cool option they did include it into the Peakdo D2 is this right here behind the flap. This is a DC input. It's a 5521, and it comes with a magnet now where you can just magnetize or just connect the magnet connector to it, and you now can connect your AC power using the 110 or the electrical outlet plug that comes with your Starlink. So it's another cool feature right here, and then you can just take it off. Another cool option is this Peakdo D2 now comes with a Bluetooth app. It just seems like everything nowadays, whether it's a power station, fridge, diesel heater, accessories like blankets and stuff like that are all Bluetooth controlled, which is pretty cool because now you have everything in the palm of your hand of your phone. Now having these heat sinks extends the battery life versus 3.5 to 4 hours to 5.5 hours, and it's just kind of if you got less heat, your batteries or your electronics are going to perform better because heat kills. So I haven't been in hot weather because it's been winter to really see how well these heat sinks work. Now I will be testing these here in the hot summer months and see if I can get the same performance or even longer performance than the Peakdo 1. Now the last option I want to talk about is the bypass mode. Now the Peakdo Link2 did not have a bypass mode, and that means when it got hot it would shut this battery down, and I talked about that just a second ago, and then I would have to let it cool down, reset it, and if I was uploading or downloading videos while I was or just connecting to the internet, that became a little bit of a hassle because I would have to wait. The Peakdo Link2 now has a bypass mode, and what the bypass mode is, while you got this hooked up to your Starlink, if it does heat up or overheat, it will shut the battery down. It will bypass that, and if you have it plugged in to a DC or a 12-volt source or electrical source, it will bypass the battery and go straight and use your electrical input in here, like a 12-volt or your 110. So you won't get interruptions while using this battery. So the bypass mode is pretty cool. So, and then it will shift back after it cools down. So that is a really cool feature, especially if you depend on your Starlink Mini, if you're doing meetings or Zoom calls, or you need to be on online. This thing will bypass that issue. Put the battery on there and slide this in, and then connect your electrical source or your wires, and then you're good to go. You hit that power button and then you have power for about 5 hours if you don't use the snow melt option. Now the thing I like about the Starlink Mini that really impresses me, it draws little wattage. Now I had a Gen 2, one of those stands, and it's self-centering and it would track and all that stuff. It was bulky. I had to have a big case for it. And two, it drawed quite a bit of power. We're talking about 120 watts of power. So I wouldn't leave it on full time. The Starlink Mini now draws about 20 watts. That's it, 20 watts with the non-snow melt feature. So that is a big pro for me. Also, the Starlink Mini now has dropped the prices down to $199. I paid $4.99 or $5.99 for my Starlink Mini a year ago. Now you can get them for $199. Now these batteries, of course, is going to cost more than the Starlink Mini, and that is one of the cons to this. You know, you're going to be spending $200 something for this battery. It is only a 99 amp hour battery, so like I said, you can fly with these if you're taking it to your next destination. But you have to outweigh the pros and cons. An external battery or plug it into a power source. But that's the cons of this batteries, that they're in the $200 range. The pros to these is you get 5+ hours of power. You do have that new bypass mode and these heat sinks for overheating. You do have input modes. I mean, as far as USB-C, you have a DC, AC port, and of course you have your magnetic there to input. So what I think about these, I think these are great to have as a spare battery in case you're somewhere where you need power. But it's not, is it the all go-to? Probably not. There are bigger batteries than this. In fact, I just did a review on a larger battery, which I really like. But having these heatsink option, it's a really cool feature. So I tested this in the grasslands in the middle of nowhere, and it performed flawlessly. I didn't have any issues with it. So anyway, check them out at peakdo.com if you want, and there's videos on YouTube of these new Link 2s. So anyway, if you got any questions, pop them in the box below. I will answer them the best I can. Peakdo 2, not bad. Great battery to have as a spare. So until the next video, this is Ben from Off Grid Gumby, out.